Welcome to another heart-pounding episode of Fearless TV, the show that takes you to the edge and sometimes way beyond. This week on the program, we'll feature some amazing things you can do with a kayak. We'll take a closer look at the car described by its manufacturers as loud, rude and very frightening. There's a closer look at carving up the powder at the Extreme GS. An unscheduled dip in a runaway balloon. Plus, we'll drop in on some half-pipe with radical moves to burn. We'll check out a bit of tube action with surfing's elite. And grab some hang time to brave new heights on the windsurfer. With its Olympic involvement, a new course has been purpose-built for competitions around the world. The sport of kayaking has received much more commercial recognition in the past few years than any time in its history. Specialised equipment has now been developed to the point that many offshoots of kayaking are available to the masses, with more and more participants taking to the waterways of the world each day. This search has led to hardcore paddlers finding even more remote and untried locations, to the point where water is no longer a necessary element involved in setting the kayak in motion. With its streamlined shape and low friction construction materials, make the kayak an extremely flexible vehicle to cross boundaries between various types of terrain. Some of its applications discovered purely by accident. In short, if it looks like it will travel on certain types of ground cover, it generally will. The future of off-water kayaking is only in its infancy. But for a taste, here are the tryout results. Back in the water again to check out some acceleration levels. Shorter boats, such as this rodeo kayak, become unstable at certain speeds. And maybe a possible future sport called wake kayaking. More new offerings from Lotus. The Exige is the latest car to emerge from the Lotus stable. $53,000 worth of race-bred machinery that's described by Lotus as loud, rude and very frightening. The Exige features the same sleek aerodynamic body shell as the Sport Elise, along with the wide wheel and tyre package laced to the same sports suspension. This lightweight construction allows 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in just under 5 seconds. It's a pure driver's machine, the kind of car that gets the blood pumping and the heads turning. It's been a busy few years for Lotus, proving themselves on the racetracks of Europe and the UK. The new N250 concept car has been given the green light on production. Now the Exige aims to give drivers a new racetrack experience. Lotus has already established a great reputation for delivering race-bred technology on their street-legal vehicles. And the new Elise certainly adds to that tradition. Contrary to popular belief, it isn't magic that gets you good air, it's basic physics. 3 forces act on a skateboard: the weight of the rider, gravity, and the ground pushing up on the board. These 3 forces balance out to 0. Exerting a much greater force on the tail than the front of the board causes it to strike the ground. The ground exerts some serious upward force on the tail, and Houston, we have liftoff. Base tuning time for the Grand Slalom, the big mama of boarding. Riders scrape the base to dump excess wax for better glide. For Super G and GS events, you need the right wax combo to get you out of the starting gate fast, as well as for the most critical part of the course, usually the flat section where gravity can't help you, but a good wax sure can. You can even get new thermo bags to heat boards overnight, so the wax penetrates deep into the base. Today's competition is a walk in the park for the #1 USA Juniors champion, pitted against the top-ranked riders from New Zealand and Japan. Snowboarding made its Olympic debut with the giant slalom in Nagano in 1998, earning the sport instant cred, something that had been sorely lacking since its inception in the early 70s. Not only is the course long and fast, but it's forever changing, depending on how it's been carved up by previous races. Snow temperature is another important variable that can change throughout the course during the day's event. What starts off as a sweetly packed corner can turn to slush and crud in no time. Our play of the day poses an interesting question that's about to be answered. What happens when an immeasurable force, in this case a raging river, meets an incomparable bunch of clowns? That would be them. They're lost, they're tired, and they've discovered that rubber rafts don't go uphill. And that's why these champions deserve our play of the day.
Torch.
This is New Zealand's magnificent Lake Taupo, once the site of the largest volcanic eruption ever to rock the planet. The lake is actually a crater that was left behind. But we're actually here to relive an event from the past. The history books tell us that Leonardo da Vinci had all the grey matter needed to invent the parachute, but the ancient dude lacked the guts to try out his new conception. That glory went to French daredevil André Jacques Garnerin on October 22, 1797, when he used a hot air balloon to make the world's first parachute jump. These modern-day adventurers are about to emulate that feat down to the last detail. Except for the bit where the French dude broke both his legs in the fall and got rushed to hospital, hopefully. The 50-metre high windbag climbs 1,000 feet every 2 minutes. It'll take him 5 seconds to freefall that distance on the way down. At 5,000 feet, the jumpers climb into position, while the balloon pilot gets ready to adjust for the sudden drop in weight. A wrong move could see the craft shoot up and out of control. The adrenaline junkies are all set and they're off. Careering towards the rapidly approaching ground at 130 miles an hour, at 2,500 feet, they get just one shot at deploying the chutes, and then it's a matter of hanging back to enjoy the view. But while the skydivers are out of danger, there's a new drama on the horizon. The balloons hit a bad thermal pocket, and now it's being dragged into the drink too hard and way too fast. Still blissfully unaware of the situation, the flyboys swoop in for some perfect textbook landings. They'll sure be glad they jumped out when they did. Meanwhile, local fishing boats have spotted the stricken craft and are circling it, just in case the crew bail into the icy waters. The pilot's still struggling to regain control when all seems lost. The wicker basket cops are dunking, but thanks to a sudden gust of wind, the balloon miraculously takes flight again, with the safety crew in hot pursuit. A few more tense moments thanks to nearby homes, power lines and trees, and the ordeal is all but over for the shaken crew. And with an open field spotted to act as a makeshift landing site, and local volunteers rushing in from all directions, the giant runaway is finally brought to ground. Bungee jumping is no longer regarded as the hottest of the extreme sports world, but new records are still being set in rapid succession. While a regular drop should send you on an 80-foot bounce, the highest recorded jump off a bridge was over 10 times as extreme. Certified head case David Kirk leapt 1,053 feet off the Royal George Bridge in Colorado. The biggest mass jump was 25 people off a 170-foot skyscraper in Frankfurt, but that's just begging to be broken. More snowboarding action now, but this time it's less about speed and more about freestyle, big air freestyle. We're talking half-pipe heaven, and with the pros dropping in to show us what they're made of. Swiss cheese, spaghetti, roast beef, fresh fish, Canadian bacon and some chicken salad. If that sounds like a shopping list to you, it's time you got off the mountain. They're big air maneuvers to the rest of us, and we can't get enough of them. The half-pipe is 100 metres of freestyle possibilities. Riders drop in to start their run, climbing the vertical sides of the snowpack channel till they're at least as high over the lip as gravity will allow, and often sometimes higher. Best riders have the cleanest tricks, biggest air, most points, and they're always in total control. Free expression, free movement, freestyle. Make it your own. Here's one of the weirdest new sports we've seen for a while: canyoning. Enthusiasts take advantage of the rocks that are eroded away. A bit like the holes in their heads, I guess. I mean, this stuff isn't just extreme, it's insane. Canyoning combines all the rugged elements of rock climbing, abseiling, and those water slides they have at fun parks. Well, the surf's up and the barrels are pumping. All that's needed now are those to drop in enough to carve them up, and that shouldn't take too long. Solid tube riding has been the domain of very few surfers until recent times, but a new generation of finely tuned boards is changing the entire scene. By altering the design of the template, rocker, foil, contours, rails, fins and the glassing of the board, they can better generate and control both speed and power in waves from 2 to 30 feet high. In basic terms, all that means is you get the gnarliest pipe ride possible, whether it's cranking out there or not. As good as these boards are ever going to get, Mother Nature is still in charge. And if she wants to stop the ride whenever she determines, there's nothing you can do about it. But drop in on the right wave, slam the lip and spend some precious seconds in the green room, and you soon forget the pain. Now sit back and let the pros show you how it's done. Wakeboarding, it began life in the 80s with something called a scurfer, which was basically a huge waste of time, except for the fact that 2 decades later, its love child's become the fastest growing, fattest water sport on the planet. Die-hard skiers will tell you it's just a slower form of their precious pastime, but don't be fooled. A slower, more stable platform means sicker tricks and way more hang time. From simple 180s to back scratches and 360 helis, you just plant your lead foot tight in the bindings, cut a standard 75-foot ski rope down to 45, and curl into the wake crest for the ride of your life. With strong offshore winds, peeling overheads and good meaty ramps to jump off, no other sport can touch windsurfing for super long hang times. Competitors were riding waves frontside and backside, hitting the lip, chucking aerials and performing all sorts of whacked out transitions to thrill the crowds back on the beach. Modern windsurfing equipment like the new style boards make high-performance shortboarding a reality even in light winds. Competition windsurfing sees these guys angling for the lowest centre of gravity they can achieve. Leaning way off the board for a low centre of gravity frees up the sail for maximum degree of wind pickup and the most awesome pace. Add to that the ability to jibe on the wave face, and you've got some white knuckle action.